Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Divine Family. Am I audible?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. So today we are going to continue with the Murli that we started on Friday. And we're going to do the second part of it. If you recall, we had a beautiful discussion on the spiritual rose and how you are a spiritual rose and how you can always spread your fragrance to all the people around you using Baba's help and light and truly following Baba's Srimad and footsteps. Today we will do the second half of the Murli, starting from Bab Dada meeting the teachers. Do you know in what form Bab Dada would like to see all of you instrument servers? Bab Dada wants to see all of you servers incarnate down here to do your service, just as he himself incarnates here in order to carry out his duty. When one incarnation incarnates on earth, according to the drama, he's able to bring about so much transformation. There are those who have the power of the soul, whereas all of you are embodiments of the power of God. Therefore, if all of you incarnations were to incarnate down here, what would happen? Transformation would take place very easily. Just as the Father takes this body on loan and yet doesn't create any bondage, but simply enters and leaves when he wants and thereby remains free of any bondage, in the same way, you servers have to remain free from any bondage of your sanskars or nature of your bodies. You need to be able to adopt any sanskar whenever and however you want. You need to be able to make your body function as you want. You need to be able to create whatever type of nature you want. Do not say, my nature is like this, and so what can I do? Do not say, this is what my sanskars and my bondage are like. No. Become completely free. Yes, thank you. I was missing the line. Become completely free from bondage, the same as the Father. Some of you think that you're in the bondage of a body because of having to be in the cycle of birth and death. However, now that your body no longer belongs to you, is that body a bondage? So how can you have any bondage? Now that you have died alive, to whom does your body belong? Have you surrendered all three? Your body, mind, and wealth? Or have you only surrendered two and not the third? Can there be any bondage when the body and mind are not yours? To say, what can I do? I've had these sanskars for many births and I have these karmic accounts of the body, is to speak words of weakness. It is now at the confluence age that your old accounts of your old births are settled and you start everything afresh. Your old register has now been closed. You've started your new register. Has your old past register been closed? Or are you still carefully holding on to it? Have you not yet closed it? So do you understand what Bap Dada wants to see? When so many incarnations appear, there will then be an upheaval on the earth. An incarnation means a soul who has come up from above. First, stabilize in the stage of the incorporeal world and then come down here. Do not take off from down here. You are, in any case, originally souls who are residents of the Supreme Abode. You are Satopradhan souls. Therefore, remain stable in your original and eternal form. Do not stay in your stage of the final period, but remain in your original and eternal stage. What will happen then? You will become free from bondage. Otherwise, those souls will also become tied in one or another bondage. Do everything whilst considering yourself to be a soul without any bondage, one who has just incarnated. Others will then also follow you. You saw Sakar Baba. What did he remember? Together with the Father, I am also in my karmatit stage and in the childhood form of my deity stage. He constantly had his original and eternal form in his awareness. Therefore, follow the Father. There is no need to ask you teachers if you are content. To ask your teachers this question would be to ask you teachers this question would be to insult you. Therefore, Bhaktada cannot insult you. You are instruments equal to the Father. To be an instrument means constantly to be an embodiment of having the awareness of Karan Karavan Har. This awareness is a powerful awareness. I am Karan Har, but only on the basis of Karan Karavan Har. I am an instrument, but I must not forget the one who has made me an instrument. Let there not be the consciousness of I. Constantly have Bapdada's name on your lips, in your mind, and in your actions. This lesson is firm for you, is it not? And now Bapdada is meeting in groups. Do you spend your whole day from the early hours of nectar till night, according to the timetable and the elevated directions that Baba has given you for the whole day? How have you to wake up? How you have to walk? How you have to eat? How you have to interact? You have been given the elevated directions for all of these actions. Do you perform every action according to those elevated directions? Which one word do you remain aware of so that your stage remains elevated in everything you do? Trustee. By remaining aware of being a trustee in everything you do, your stage will become elevated. This is because when you act as a trustee, every burden is the Father's burden, and you become constantly double light. When you are double light, you are able to take a high jump. If you consider yourself to be a householder, you have a tail dragging along behind you, and every burden lands on you. When you have a burden, you're unable to take a high jump. In fact, you become even more breathless. When you constantly consider yourself to be a trustee, your stage will remain constantly elevated. Therefore, always keep in your awareness the elevated directions of constantly remaining a trustee. What is the number one Srimad that all of you children have received from Bapdada? The number one Srimad is to consider yourself to be a soul. And whilst considering yourself to be a soul, to remember the Father. You will not receive power from the Father by only considering yourself to be a soul. The reason why you're unable to maintain the stage of constant remembrance is that whilst you are remembering the Father, you do not consider yourself to be a soul. Instead of considering yourself to be a soul, you remember the Father whilst considering yourself to be an ordinary bodily being. You're therefore unable to maintain that stage of remembrance. Before two things are put together, they first have to be made to match. In the same way, when you remember the Father, whilst considering yourself to be a soul, then because you have become the same, you will easily be able to have that remembrance. Constantly continue to put this first Srimad into practice. This is your main foundation. When your foundation is weak, you're unable to experience your stage ascending. One moment your stage would ascend, and the next moment it would descend. When a building's foundation is not strong, there are cracks and it may collapse. In the same way, if your foundation isn't strong, Maya will make you fall down. Therefore, always make sure that your foundation is very strong. You must constantly pay attention even to something that appears easy. If you don't pay constant attention, even something easy then becomes difficult. Do you constantly have the intoxication that your souls with all rights every cycle? You were those souls, you are those souls, and you will be those souls every cycle. Do the scenes of the previous cycle enter your intellects just as clearly? Today you're Brahmins and tomorrow you'll be deities. Do you have the intoxication that you were deities? Do you constantly remember the mantra, hum so hum? What I was, so I will become. If you constantly maintain this intoxication, then just as everything else is forgotten by an intoxicated person, just as the whole world is forgotten, in the same way, when you remain in this intoxication, you are easily able to forget the old world. Do you experience your state to be like this? Therefore, constantly check to see how long you remain in the intoxication of knowing that today you are a Brahmin and tomorrow a deity. When you interact with anyone, do you still maintain this intoxication or does it reduce a little? Everyone remembers what he or she is. For instance, while a president is doing anything, he would not forget that he is a president. So constantly remember your position. Through this, you will experience constant happiness and intoxication. Constantly have the intoxication of being those who are to become deities. At present, you are Brahmins, the top knots, and Brahmins are even more elevated than the deities. No matter how much Maya tries to shake off this intoxication of yours, she should be unable to do so. When Maya comes, she first tries to isolate you. She first makes you step away from the Father. Robbers also first get you on your own and then attack you. Therefore, stay constantly combined. Never become isolated. I and my Baba remain in the awareness of being combined. Do all of you consider yourselves to be greatly fortunate? Look how great your fortune is. You've reached the land of blessings to fill your aprons with blessings. How many souls in the world have such fortune? A handful out of multi-millions, and only a few out of that handful. Therefore, always remain happy in the awareness of what you used to listen to. And speak about, and that you are now the souls who are the few out of the handful selected from multi-millions. Do you have this much happiness? Constantly continue to dance in this happiness. How wonderful is my fortune. Continue to sing the song. Together with singing the song, dance in happiness. You know how to sing this song, do you not? How wonderful my fortune is. How wonderful my Baba is. How wonderful the drama is. Constantly continue to sing this song. You are very lucky. The Father always says that each of you children is a lovely child. So you are the loveliest and also the luckiest. Never consider yourself to be ordinary. You're very elevated. Once God Himself belongs to you, what else would you need? When the seed belongs to you, the tree is included in it. Therefore, remain in the constant happiness of knowing this. When others see your happiness, they too will begin to dance in happiness. So, this now concludes the Murli reading. And now it's time for reflection. It's a beautifully written Murli. Thank you, Baba. And each one of you, please think about the paras and the lines that touched you, that reminded you of something very critical to your own spiritual progress. And let's then share and learn from each other. Om Shanti. We'll connect again after 2 minutes. Would anyone like to begin now? Let's start the sharing and reflections.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Om Bhai.
All happy Shri Krishna Janmashtami to everyone, the Divine Family. And what a befitting Murli today on the Janmashtami day, when the festival itself is a memorial of we Brahmin children who are, getting into the preparation for becoming like Krishna, Shri Krishna and Shri Radhe. And what an intoxicating Murli today. Consider yourself to be a soul, and not just the soul, but the soul which is connected with the Supreme Soul. And the great intoxication is a element, is a raw material which is definitely required. Who am I and what am I becoming? And not just that becoming, experiencing that I am so and so, and I am not only this kalpa, but infinite times I have been this, and the perfection and embodiment of all the virtues, powers, treasures, the divine love, peace, happiness, which my Supreme Soul is the ocean, and I am like him. I'm connected to the seed, the source, which includes the culprit, which includes all attainment. Every soul in this world is connected to the seed, and that's what I am connected with, and that's such a great intoxication. This is something which I think is a great befitting Murli for the happy Janmashtami, happy Shri Krishna Janmashtami. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om
Thank-
Shanti.
Yes, brother, go ahead.
Today, Baba's Murli is pointing out the basics, that consider yourself to be a soul, and when you are considering yourself to be a soul, that is Nirakari, Nirvikari, Nirahankari, you are connected to Baba. And when you are connected to Baba, you have that intoxication. It is, now I am a Brahmin, I am becoming a deity. And Baba also tells that there should be constant intoxication and constant happiness of transformation, that I'm getting transformed. And the word stable has also come today, as Babas always say, because the main crux is stability of the state of mind. Throughout this Swadarsan Chakra, when we do, we find that this stability factor gets disturbed. Why? Because due to body consciousness. So the first letter S itself tells that you have to consider yourself to be a soul. Check yourself whether you are a soul conscious state or not, whether they're in constant intoxication. And T is telling that today you are a Brahmin and tomorrow you will be a deity. That is, Baba is talking about transformation. And another letter A is that by that transformation, and this transformation will take place only and only if you are audacious, that is quite bold enough. And when you are adorned with divine virtues, and when you are adorned with divine virtues, you become abode. Just like Dada Diksa that did the Purusharth and became abode of Shiva Baba, and Shiva Baba took over his and became Master Brahma. He became Brahma. So due to that, similarly, we have to also become abode of Baba. We become Master Brahma, so that Baba uses us, and B is Balihar to Baba, and L is lawful and loveful. And finally, E, we become embodiment of knowledge. And when we become embodiment of knowledge, that is the real transformation within. And with that transformation within, we become Swarajya Adhikari. And in that process, the world gets transformed. Om Shanti.
Thank you, brother. That is
Beautifully
beautifully interpreted. Yes, go ahead, sister. Sister Gisha, carry on.
that paragraph on incarnation, when it was read out, I just suddenly remembered very recently, I listened to a class by Susha Ben. She speaks about Raymond Moody, who's an explorer of studying about past life regressions and all, and where and in that there was an Indian doctor who had come and shared something in Madhuban. So she speaks about this incarnation. What is it? What happens? I'm not talking about reincarnation. That is a completely different thing. I'm talking about just incarnation. How does the soul come down to this world? How, as she shared that, every soul who went through Raymond Moody's experiment felt that they just went down, touched some light, and they came, and they choose. They choose, that soul chooses when to go, where to go, how long to go. And for the first 2 years, when the child is there, it is totally involved with the light. So I have heard about that kind of incarnation. But here, when Baba is speaking to the teachers, when he mentions about incarnations, he's talking about the present age, the confluence age. We have heard about incarnations of Vishnu, the avatars and all. But just see the role Baba has given us. You are all originally residents of Paramdham. You come down on this earth to incarnate. And if all of you come together, of course, that all of us do not come together, there are still some souls coming down. If all of you come down together, there will be an upheaval and there will be transformation. So I was just taking that picture of the faith which Baba is putting on us and calling at us the one who incarnates. So it's such a big role. So we came down from Paramdham, as I told you, according to the gentle way. But when we come down, what is the role and what is the transformation, the kind of hope which Baba has on us, and the kind of intoxication which he is giving on us by these incarnations. So that 2 paragraph on incarnation, and then see when the soul comes down, because it's a resident of Paramdham, it's just come down. It has no bondage at all. The bondages start, like they say, in psychology, it's not only heredity and even environment changes. So for the first 2 years, there's no bondage, nothing and all, they say. Later, the bondages start, my body, my possession. And Baba is saying, you cannot have all that. So I think if you go through this incarnation paragraph, so much more deeper things comes to your mind. Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister. And yes, the incarnation is a topic by itself, which we can discuss at some point. Just like you mentioned, that brother who has experienced some past lives and seen how this happens. I'm sure many of us in the group have done the same, and it would be a nice learning to discuss that. But today we will continue with Baba's interpretation of when he talks about bondage linked to the incarnation, which is the most significant part. Because when you incarnate, you actually become bonded to your body, to your mind, to your own work, to your family. And that is the big challenge on how to just function as a trustee and not be bonded. Remembering that you are an instrument of Baba, and remembering that relationship between Karanhar and Karavanhar, and being his beautiful instrument, being that spiritual rose that this Murli is talking about. So thank you for that sharing. And would anyone else like to share any other takeaway?
Om Shanti. So
Baba says the first and the foremost Srimad is to see the soul, right? Srimad is and also put it into practice. And Baba says the reason that we don't experience Baba's power, right, is that we don't consider ourselves to be a soul when we remember Baba. So it's very important that we. I remember first considering ourselves to be a souls. So that's where we take the power. So that's when the frequency range matches, right? And that's when we can really take power from Baba. And Baba gave beautiful example of the building foundation. If it is not strong, then it cracks off and it may fall down, right? And similarly, the foundation is not strong, then Maya will pull us down. So the method to make our foundation strong is to, yes, we have to see ourselves so first and then remember the Father. Yeah, thank you. Shanti.
Yes, thank you, brother. Thank you for the sharing. Any other takeaway?
Om Shanti, sister. Good morning.
Good morning.
Baba mentions to the surrender brothers that you need not to ask if my services makes you feel contented or not, or is the center contented with my services. Here Baba consoles and says that you are the children of a Supreme Father and he is all contented with your services. So you need not to ask that to the people in the center. So I think that is the meaning that is conveyed in the Murli. Am I right, sister?
Yes, carry on. You're right.
So Baba is happy with you and you are happy with your service. That makes everyone happy. So need not to have a self-doubt about oneself is what I understood from the Murli. Yes. Thank you, sister.
Yes, thank you, brother. Anyone else? So I would like to share just my personal experience in the last 2-3 months. This Murli is of extreme relevance to me personally as well, to remind me of all Baba's Srimad and his teachings, because sometimes these worldly tests that come into your life are constant reminders. So when we talk about bondage and we talk about soul incarnations and then we talk about being his instruments. So just 2 months ago, my son got married. So there's a major change in my life, in their life, but you know how it is in the Lokik life. And then just on the 11th of August, my mother passed away after an illness, though she was most vibrant and bright. And so I was reminding myself that the joy and the sorrow came all together, almost back to back. And then we had in our organization some changes, and then I got a new role. And it was change at every level, whether it was at work, at home, in relationships, in joy, sorrow. And the thing that kept me going is Baba's teachings and the reflections constantly that to treat both the circumstances in your life with the same equanimity and to remain absorbed in the soul conscious world, knowing that whatever is happening is the Karavanhar. And the Karanhar has to keep doing the right thing, keep doing the pure action, the pure thought, and not to be sad and not to be overexcited either, but to just remain calm and to witness as a trustee that this is your role and how you're taking this role is what is challenging. So I just shared this experience because of what all was happening in the last 2 months. And every line in this Murli for me is like the greatest reminder. I don't have one line to say that this is the line which, because every sentence is just connecting to my worldly situation. So I'm very grateful and thankful to the Divine Family as well as Baba to give me this opportunity to read this Murli today on this very special day of Janmashtami. So thank you, Lord Krishna, as well for this beautiful opportunity. And now we can continue with the sharing. I thought I'll just share my own experience.
Sister, just one more point. See, when Baba's, we always feel if we are perfect in the thing of soul consciousness, everything is fine. And we know down the ages, there are saints and philosophers who have always recognized that I am a soul, not a body. But here, when Baba mentions, just considering yourself to be a soul isn't enough. It has to be combined with by remembering the Father. So it is a soul consciousness and remembrance. Then only we get a power from the Father. So that's why if you see in every Murli stay in constant remembrance, constant remembrance. But in this particular paragraph, Baba has coupled it saying soul consciousness plus remembrance, then you are in the right track to get power. Something I just thought I always concentrate on the part of soul consciousness. That's the first lesson I should get. But your Baba has also said, remembering the Father. So that's also a direction for the soul. Otherwise, it's just like they say in Sahaj Yoga, all the chakras go up to the Sahasra thing. But Baba goes, going beyond that and remembering the Father. I think that's a nice combined thing which is given in the Om Shanti.
Yes, sister. In fact, Baba has also said that, like how when you are attacked by the robbers, you're first taken alone. He's very beautifully explained this, and then you're attacked. But if you're never alone, if you're always in the combined form with Baba, then nobody can attack you, and there is always that divine connection of the combined form. So you're always in that elevated stage of stability, and you're always calm, you're always connected, and you're always looking at the entire universe in a very soul conscious way.
Can it be we remember the Father, but we don't consider ourselves to be a soul? Is that a part of devotion? That also Baba has mentioned.
Yes.
Why there is no constant remembrance? Because you're remembering the Father, but you don't consider yourself to be a soul.
So when you remember the Father in a soul conscious way, you will definitely see yourself as a soul as well. But if you remember the Father in a worldly way, just asking for this and asking for that materialistically, sometimes then you see yourself as a body. But on the other hand, every communication you should share with Baba is just my personal view. So at times there are also worldly things which happen because that's natural. That is also the world that Baba has given to you to live, right? But the true connection is when you are in a soul conscious connection. The rest is more when you're asking for some material help, which is not
Shanti.
the connection. Go ahead, brother.
Om Shanti. Actually, what happens? Soul conscious doesn't comes immediately. It's basically a practice which we have to do. So Baba says that abhyas karo, nirantar abhyas karo. And by day-to-day practice, actually it starts with remembrance. And when you remember something, anything you remember, and when you remember Baba, basically we first remember the guns of Baba, the qualities of Baba. And by mere remembering it, and in the a time comes you start in taking that qualities which you talk about, which you think about Baba. And when you think about Baba, and in that process, what happens? It enters into your consciousness. And when that quality enters into your consciousness, you become like that, what we are remembering. So that it is told in the world also, कि जैसा सोचोगे वैसा बन जाओगे. And when we think about qualities of Baba and we talk about Baba, we think about Baba, we read about Baba, and in that process, as Baba is Nirakari, we also attain that Nirakari state. Baba is Nirvikari, so we also attain Nirvikari, and in that process, Nirahankari, which Brahma Baba also tried a lot, and in that process, what happens? The last he also attained that Nirakari, Nirvikari, Nirahankari state. That is basically a pure soul conscious state. That, as in the Murli also, it comes Smriti, what that is in Smriti, that comes in Vritti, and what that is in Vritti comes in Kriti, or it becomes our Sanskriti. And in that process, the Smriti changes, Vritti changes, Kriti changes, and Sanskriti changes. That is total transformation from Tamopadhan to Satopadhan. Om Shanti.
Thank you, brother. I like your poetic rhyming of the words. It's beautifully expressed. Thank you. There are many others on the group who haven't yet shared their thoughts. Would anyone like to say something or write in the chat box? Anything that struck you as something, a chord, which rings a bell and you would like to share?
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
Today, Baba speaks of intoxication. So, while doing conversation with others, you have to be in intoxicated state and check how long you can be in that state of intoxication. So actually, this first step, soul conscious step, Baba makes us light and cut from all bondages. So that is, your burden is Baba's burden. So you are not household. So it's everything away from you and be light, so light, light, light. Then after that, Baba takes us to flying stage. So that is, I think, that intoxicated state. So how long means, I don't think that I am in very few seconds only I have that state while hearing Murali, now doing this churning class and thinking of one point deeply. So like that, but I don't think when I am with the conversation with others or speaking out with others, I think I am very little. For example, if I'm explaining some points with my colleagues and friends or like that time also I feel intoxicated, but I don't think it's long lasting. So how can we increase that time of intoxication system?
Again, this is depending on your life situation, but I can just share that actually it just happens with practice and by a focused thought that every day it has to increase and it has to become more intense in vibration and elevation. And I think, like for me, because I'm also leading a regular, normal householder life, so it is always more challenging, much more challenging, to be honest. And because when you're at work, and you have to also do your duty, and sometimes you cannot be doing that and being always in a stage of combined state. However, somewhere, that what I have practiced is that even in the center of all your work and actions, like I have this habit of continuously playing something, a soft chant and the praise of the Almighty. So there's always like a little background that goes on in your head. And the second thing is that when you're speaking, in those pauses, especially when you're doing something, pauses means you just connect back and visualize yourself with Baba in the combined state. And you keep doing it. Of course, I'm also nowhere close to that constant remembrance. But I think it's the effort and the inclination and the desire to be there that makes it going. that's somebody else may also like to share how they are, practicing this to increase the period of intoxication continuously.
Can I give an example?
Yes, please.
They say when you drink alcohol, the first shot when you take, hota hai, the more and more you think, they say it's intoxication. So taking that same one example, the more and more I drink the nectar, so that can also be an intoxication. But what I always feel, see, when a person is in love, when you're in love with somebody, those small memories of being with the person whom you love, or the places where you went, or etc. and all, whatever there, that really fills up their heart and all, they say. That's what I used to read in these Mills and Boons and all. But now, just suddenly, if something, just talking to Baba, don't you think this dress, what I'm wearing, is okay? What do you think? Ah, okay. Or even if it's in the, Baba, can't you come down? A kind of conversation, I think, which you have. Sometimes, you can call it a pagal or something, but that's something in my mind. So all those spaces, as you rightly said, back of the mind, whenever you get the small spaces, when you're not doing active blockic work, I think those spaces which you get, if you fill in with these funny things or funny conversations with the Lord, I think a kind of uh, halka sa, what we say, na jhatka, or whatever you say, which I get in a second peg, we can get. I feel kind of that could be an intoxication.
Yes, sister, very true. And I think in the chat box also, some people have written true and 1 second to 2 seconds, constantly remembering. And another sister has written, I'm also always trying. So actually, it's a continuous conversation. And like you rightly said, if you think I'll connect to Baba only when I'm in a very soul conscious meditative stage, then you're going to lose the whole day, right? So in every action, in every activity, to keep connecting is what is the practice. And sometimes I find those people are more fortunate who have those kind of work duties which are monotonous, like they don't have to use their head too much. It's just a physical activity, so you can keep praying along or keep connecting continuously. But when you have to use your head a lot and you have to think, you have to strategize, you have to develop new things, then it becomes more challenging because your mind is actually now occupied with thinking. And when you are thinking about something, then you cannot be thinking of 5 things at the same time. And that practice, that's why I find that music thing also helping, because somewhere the background is always there. Like, it's so even a second of break, you're back to it, you're back to it. Like, it's like, but if your job or nature, like if you're doing dishes, you can keep in constant remembrance and doing dishes. If you're washing clothes, you can do constant remembrance. If you're walking, you can do constant remembrance. But when you are writing, let's say, a script, or you are intellectually engaging with a PowerPoint presentation, it's not so simple. So it depends what activity you're involved in. But main thing is Baba is making you do that activity as well. So that gives you the hope that because you're also here to help the world. You're not here only to do nothing, right? And you're not here to only sit in a meditative pose. You are here to do your regular karmic action as well. And when you reflect on that, I think then you are quite aligned with Baba's Karavanhar and Karanhar. You have to do your action as well.
Om
And
Shanti.
that's the thing. Yes, go ahead, brother.
Well, just just adding one reflection to the beautiful churning which is in progress is that there is a difference between yad and yad ki yatra. The journey of remembrance is the key, and there is a different journey. We engage in various activities towards reaching the destination. Destination is always in mind. That intoxication of reaching the destination is always in mind, and you're experiencing that as if you have reached that destination every moment of the journey. So it's a process, entire process. Every element of that process is to be enjoyed. And that experience of the joy and the elixir and the elevating stage can be done from the starting point till the destination. Need not be achieved at the destination, but you can experience every moment. So that is the Yad Ki Yatra. Baba says, Yad Ki Yatra. Like the moment we have done Amrit Vela and then Murli, after that we go to office. So there the journey starts. Journey starts from Amrit Vela, and the office, every moment is to be experienced. While we are talking, we can experience the intoxication, and that will add flavor to your talk. It will be experiential talk, not just a talk. So that stage can be maintained. However, we have to keep working on the relationship. The relationship, we need to keep working, because sometimes you, as you rightly said, if you're making a PowerPoint presentation, you have to be totally engrossed in that intellectual. You have to give inputs. You have to think about that. But the moment we get an opportunity, we should again think that this is a Yad Ki Yatra, and where am I going? Where is my graph going? Of the spiritual experiences. Om Shanti.
Yes, thank you, brother, for the sharing.
Om Shanti.
Yes, go ahead.
Lot of discussion on remembrance, how to remember. But why to remember? Actually, what happens, I think that all members in this group and all children of Baba, or every citizen of the world, every person, sooner or later, they realize, everybody realizes कि भगवान ही मेरा अपना है. The sooner you realize, you are safe, we are safe. और जब realization होता है कि भगवान ही मेरा अपना है, he is my true love, he is my true companion, and when you realize that start remembering that person again and again and again. Rather say, याद करना नहीं पड़ता, याद आता है. जो प्यारा होता है, who is lovely, whom you love, and love is unconditional. फिर उसको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है, याद आएगा. You have got a small son, very pretty son, lovely son. You don't sit that I am a soul, I have to remember my child. No, it comes, that remembrance comes automatically. So when there is love, there is faith. We love Baba. We have got Nishay Buddhi in Baba, and that everybody has realized, experienced in this world that Baba ही अपना है, बाकी सब सपना है. Everybody has realized. It moment comes, a person realizes that yes, यही मेरा अपना है, यही मेरा अपना सगा है. When there is saga, apna, pyara, lovely, that remembrance comes automatically. We need not have to sit and think that I am a point. No, it comes automatically. What that I experience. Om Shanti.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very beautiful churning going on. And also, some people are writing in the chat box. Rachna sister has written, service is what your primary function of being born. Let us keep serving in whichever way and attain our ultimate goal. And Srinivas brother has written, Baba says to be an avatar, incarnation, always stay in the true home of the soul world. Become an avatar and come down as a karma yogi. Better approach. And Girja sister says, if a PowerPoint presentation, I would keep asking Baba, am I doing okay? Or come down and be with me. And I, at the end, ask, how was it? Yes, true, because you're in constant dialogue. Even though it may seem like a materialistic dialogue, but it is a dialogue and the connection is always there. And my every thought, action, and words are dedicated to him. So very nice churning and good opportunity of learning through the churning as well. So thank you, everyone. And maybe one last takeaway before we do the meditation, if any major point has got left out.
Just one point which we have missed out is the Brahmin clan and versus the DT clan. Brahmin clan is even more elevating than a DT clan because of the sheer fact that we are in company of the Almighty. And that intoxication, Baba says that when we maintain that intoxication, then that is sufficient to transform the soul into a DT form. And the Brahmin DT soul, DTs, them in the memorial, they themselves long for such companionship with the Almighty, and that's the confluence stage. All the DTs, they long for it. We will take birth when the Almighty Himself is playing a part as a principal actor on the world stage, and we play part with Him and experience how beautifully He plays part, so that we also. That's what makes the conference age special, and we souls also very select, very special. Om Shanti.
Yes, thank you, brother. Though I must admit, when I'm meditating and when I see these different deity forms, I also see these deities also doing the same constant remembrance to Baba the way we are doing it in the earthly form. I don't know if anybody else has any experience on this, but I just feel that they are in the subtle world, but they are also doing similar practices like what we are doing. It's just a different dimension, nothing more. It's just a different elevation stage, but they do exactly the same thing. They're in constant remembrance, they're trying to do their function, and they're trying to do whatever has been asked of them, similar to Karavanhar and Karanhar.
Yeah. Baba has, that's very logical, and that's what has been depicted in the three worlds which you see. In the subtle world, you have Akari Devi Devtas, deity form, Akari form, subtle form. In the subtle world, they are also remembering, where Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, they are, they are symbolic of, they are connected to the Supreme Soul. And the more subtler you are remembering, the deities are remembering, there'll be more kind of probability of transforming into the DT, actual DT, who's playing role. So subtle is a much more impact. It's got
Right.
much more.
Okay. So this is a beautiful discussion, and on this beautiful day of Janmashtami, we would not like this session to end. However, we would request that we do the meditation now for the time, but continue in this constant remembrance and Karanhar and Karavanhar combined stage throughout the day. Happy Janmashtami to everyone once again, and let's do a short meditation now. Okay, so with this beautiful churning and the beautiful Murli of the spiritual rose, with so many aspects explained. Thank you, Baba. And as we now meditate, focusing on the internal point of light in the center of our foreheads, you can see yourself as that beautiful soul form, away from the body, away from any bondage. In fact, exiting the body now to experience the soul by itself, minus the body, minus the intellect, minus the mind. I'm only a pure divine soul now, a beautiful point of light, connecting to the Supreme Baba, the source, experiencing the divine connection in a combined state, knowing that Baba is my everything. And I'm his beautiful instrument. And I'm the Karanhar, while he is the Karavanhar. And as I see my light becoming brighter and brighter, as my stage of combination with Baba becomes stronger, I can soon see all the other souls in the universe, all connecting to Baba. I can see the oneness, I can see the soul consciousness all through. And now it's easy for me to see my worldly life with detachment. I can see that I'm free from the bondages of my mortal life. I can see the true world. I can see Lord Krishna's grace on this special day today. And just like Lord Krishna gave the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, Baba is sharing the divine knowledge with each one of us. The true understanding, the true divine connection. And now that I've surrendered to you, Baba, it's for you. Since you are the Karavanhar, it's for you to make me do everything that keeps me with you. To help me spiritually elevate, which I already am, but to keep that constant stage of elevation like a deity. And I not only have this desire for myself, but I have it for every other soul on this earth. Each one is entitled to that inheritance. And I see the blessing of Baba now on everyone, every soul. I see that light. I feel and experience the vibration of peace, of love, of the most divine connection. For the next 30 seconds, just visualize this beautiful moment. I am a pure divine soul, a victorious soul. Having conquered Maya, I am in the combined stage with Baba. I am a trustee, and I have the necessary divine knowledge to do my duty as a beautiful instrument of Baba, as I stay in the combined stage with him throughout. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Divine Family. And let's continue in the stage of intoxication throughout the day. Happy Janmashtami. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Harper Sister. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, have a blissful day.